Okay, this video is on graphing linear inequalities in two variables. Linear inequalities, so inequalities, those are the greater than and less than symbols. Two variables, that means we have an x and a y, which means we're graphing on a rectangular coordinate system, a Cartesian coordinate system. There's several methods, but this one we're going to talk about right now is solving for y. So it's not the only way of doing it, but it's just one way we're doing it right now. Okay, so some notes. Solve the inequality for y. In other words, get y by itself. And to find points on the line, change the inequality to an equation. So we just need points that are on the line. Right now we're going to choose values for x, but you could use any method you want. You could actually use the intercept method. That's another way of doing it. Or once you have y by itself, you could also use the slope and the intercept. Once you have the intercept, then you could get points by using the slope, rise over run. Okay, if it's a greater than or less than, draw a dashed line. And if it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, draw a solid line. The dashed line and solid line, those are used to show that numbers on the line are either included or not included. The dashed line means that numbers on the line are not included. The solid line is to indicate that numbers on the line, when I say numbers, I mean coordinates. Coordinates on the line are included, very similar to brackets and parentheses that we used on a number line. Brackets were used to show that numbers were included. Parentheses were used to show that that number was not included. So that's the importance of the dashed line or solid line. Dashed line, the points are not included. Solid line, the points are included. Okay, now again, we chose to get y by itself up here in step 1. So since we have that, if the inequality is in the form y greater than ax plus b, or y greater than or equal to ax plus b, the solution is the shaded area above the line. And we're going to shade to indicate those points are the solution, which make the inequality true. So any point in that shaded area, which has an x value and a y value, if you inserted that coordinate into one of these inequalities, it would be true. Likewise, if the inequality is in the form of y less than ax plus b, or less than or equal to ax plus b, the solution is the area below the line. We will again shade to indicate those points are the solution, which make the inequality true. So once again, greater than, shade above, less than, shade below. So greater than, shade above, less than, shade below. All right, we're going to do two examples in this video. Here's our first one, y less than negative 3 halves x plus 3. So looking at this, it's a less than. Does that mean our line is going to be solid or dashed? Yes, that's right, dashed. And since it's less than, above or below? Right, below. You might want to look back at your notes. Okay, we're going to write it as an equation. And we're going to pick points. If you want to use the slope and the y-intercept, that's fine. Y-intercept is 3. Slope is negative 3 halves, which means down 3 over 2. I'm just going to pick some points here, just do the calculations. Okay, what values should we choose here for x? The denominator is a 2, so I would try to pick even numbers and always start with 0. So 0, 2, and 4. Whatever the denominator is, pick that number and then double it for our third value. So if this were a 7 here, we would choose 0, 7, and 14. If it were an 11, 0, 11, 22. Okay, let's start with 0. Replace x with 0. Negative 3 halves times 0 is 0, plus 3. That just comes out to be 3. So go over here and insert the 3 in the y column. Now do the same thing with 2 and then 4. If you want, you could pause and work it out, and then come back when you're done. Okay, we'll do x equals 2 now. Replace x with 2. 2's cancel. So negative 3 plus 3, that'll give you 0. So we'll put a 0 here across from the 2. One more, we'll pick 4. You should always pick at least 3 numbers. That way, if your points line up, you know you've done it correctly. If they do not line up, then you've made a mistake. And if you make a mistake, then you just want to fix it. Find where you calculated incorrectly. So replace x with 4. Let's see, 2 goes into 4 twice. Negative 3 times 2, negative 6 plus 3. Negative 3. Okay, let's go ahead and plot these points on this graph. It's always nice to have some graph paper. You might want to go out and buy a tablet of graph paper. If not, you could always print some up from the internet. Just type in graph paper in a search, and you'll find plenty of graph paper. I have some on my website that you could choose. It's in the handouts column. Okay, so plotting these values, 0, 3, 2, 0, and 4, negative 3. And then again, what kind of line do we say we're going to draw? Dashed. You don't want to lose points on a test because you didn't draw a dashed line and you drew a solid line. And then it's less than, so we're going to shade above or below? Right, below. So below is everything below the line. This line is like a boundary. Above the line would be up here, and below the line would be below it. Okay, let's do one more example in this video. Okay, this time the inequality does not have y by itself. So what are you going to do if we don't have y by itself? Yeah, that's right. Get it by itself. Okay, so what's the first thing you should do to get the y by itself? Yes, subtract 2x on both sides. So the 2x cancels, and we're going to bring down, don't forget the negative sign here, negative 5y. And we like to write the x before the 10, so negative 2x plus 10. There's no sign in front of that 10, so we'll keep it positive. Now, to get y by itself here, it's being multiplied by negative 5, so we need to divide by negative 5. A lot of times people forget this negative sign here, but not you, right? So don't forget to divide by the negative 5 on all three of these terms. Of course, whenever you divide by a negative, when we're dealing with inequalities, do you remember what to do? Right, the inequality has to switch. We reverse the direction of the inequality anytime you divide by a negative. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative. If you subtract, you do not change the inequality. Like up here in this step, you don't change the direction. Only if you divide or multiply by a negative. Okay, and then these two negatives that turn to a positive. And 10 divided by negative 5, that's negative 2. So now we have our inequality that has y by itself. We know it's going to be a dashed line once again. And let's see, above or below? Right, below. So let's pick some points for x. We'll change this to an equation first. And then what values should we choose for x? Right, it's a 5 in the denominator, so we'll always start with 0. And then that denominator, and then double the denominator. So 0, 5, and 10. You want to pause and go through the steps of working that out. And then come back when you're done. So if x is 0, that gives us negative 2, because 2/5 times 0 is just 0. 0 take away 2 is negative 2. Next number to choose is 5. 5's will cancel, so 2 take away 2 is 0. And next number to choose is 10. 5 goes into 10 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, let's plot those coordinates on this Cartesian coordinate system. Here's 0, negative 2, 5, 0, and 10, 0. Line, once again, is dashed. Be careful, don't forget to make it a dashed line when you draw it in. And then we're going to shade below the line. Okay, I'll see you here for the next video. We'll do some more inequalities.